Tonight on News 5 Live, $75,000 or 12 months in prison. That's the sentence handed down by the High Court to Jasmine Hartin as the case against her in the shooting death of Henry Jamont comes to an end. PBL seeks an investigation through the Office of the Ombudsman into Erwin Contreras and the signing of the definitive agreement. Prime Minister John Briceño signs a $90 million development loan with the Saudis. And in tonight's 5-point breakdown, a closer look at fair trade and what it means for the sugar industry. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Bring color to life with Sherwin-Williams paint. Choose from matte, eggshell, semi-gloss, or gloss finishes for your home's interior and exterior use. Also, protect your wooden decks and furnitures with our top-of-the-line varnishes, wood stains, and wood preservatives. We also have primers, masonry, and metal coatings. Sherwin-Williams, available at Design Depot, all in one place.
LG dual inverter compressor cools air faster by operating at speeds as high as 120 Hz with more stability compared to conventional models. It also saves up to 70% more energy by operating at speeds as low as 10 Hz with more stability. It reduces torque vibration down to 40% for quiet outdoor unit operation. Stable operation with low vibrations also results in increased durability.
Here's your chance. The stage is waiting. We're looking for talented Belizean singers for another season of KTV The Remix. KTV auditions will take place on Saturday, June 3rd and Sunday, June 11th, starting at 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Channel 5 on Coney Drive in Belize City. We're also now accepting online submissions. 2-minute videos can be emailed to producer@channel5belize.com or DM KTV Remix on Facebook. Deadline, Sunday, June 11th at 5 p.m. Come be a part of the biggest singing competition of the year. KTV The Remix, only on Channel 5.
newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, May 31st. I am Sabrina Daly. Exactly 3 years to the day after she was arraigned in San Pedro for the shooting death of Superintendent Henry Jamot, Jasmine Hartin was fined $75,000 as her sentence. Presiding Judge Ricardo O'Neill Sancroft, in a 25-page ruling, imposed the fine. To be paid within 12 months or in default, Hartin would face 12 months in prison. The fine was one of several components of the sentence. Hartin must also spend 300 hours doing community work at the Young Men's Christian Association, YMCA, on Faubers Road. She must also make a video on the excesses of alcohol consumption and committing irresponsible actions thereafter, as well as the consequences of making those mistakes. Before the sentence was handed down, Hartin was given time to review a victim's impact assessment statement presented by the DPP's office and a social inquiry report prepared by her defense team. The judge ruled that the fine must be used to develop a rehabilitation fund for police officers who are overburdened on the job. Following the sentence, attorney Orson Elrington spoke with reporters in front of the courtroom.
The fine was $75,000, and secondly is that the case law speaks to what should be the fine. Ultimately, those who study law will tell you that it is probably the biggest fine ever.
Okay,
so the case law clearly shows that, significantly more than anything which has ever been handed down for a matter like this.
You had indicated to us that Ms. Hartin had indeed started to compensate the family. Is that so? Because we're hearing no.
Well, if their interpretation of monies received by them is not compensation, I don't know two types of thing in law, either that you get compensation or not. You
and Ms. Hartin, before the sentence was handed down, went in a little room to go over two documents. Can you explain that process to us? Well, as a part of the process, there is what is called the agreed facts. And prior to this, there were my client disagreed with certain facts, and therefore we had to, both parties, both the prosecution and the defense, had to agree as to the facts that the court would use to come to its sentence. And so what we did was we met and we made minor adjustments, and both parties were able to agree as to what were the facts that we would use for the judge to levy his sentence.
So what happens now for Hartin? We tried to ask her when she exited the courtroom today, but she was not talking. We also tried to get Jamot's sisters upon their exit, but they too declined comment. Hartin's lawyer says she can leave the country, but with a sentence that stipulates that if she doesn't pay her fine within a certain period, she will face prison time. How is that interpreted?
Is it her plan to leave the country?
Sorry?
Is it her plan to leave the country?
Well, she has the right to leave the country now, just like you and I. So of course it is that she has the right to leave the country. There is no restriction on her anymore for her not to be able to leave the country, but she has no intention. Her life is here in Belize. She's also given 12 months to pay the $75,000 fine. So in light of that, then will she have to maybe report somewhere before she asks permission to leave the country? Or there is absolutely no restriction on a person after a court has handed down a verdict. None.
Sir, but what is the guarantee that she'll pay that fine, that she'll do the community service if she just flies out?
The absolute last place she would be going at any time soon is Turk and Caicos.
The judge did not address the matter of compensation for Jamot's family because that is a matter for the family to take up at the civil courts. While they have indicated they have received nothing from Hartin, her lawyer has said otherwise. Tourism Minister Anthony Moller was among several colleagues who raised objections to a white paper presented by Prime Minister John Briceño to Cabinet on May 23rd. That document had to do with proposed legislation that would facilitate the development of a cruise tourism terminal in the vicinity of the Sibun River. It follows a definitive agreement entered into by the previous administration in October of 2020 with the principals of Portico Enterprises Limited. It has also been revealed that former Minister of Economic Development Erwin Contreras was signatory to that agreement. On Tuesday, opposition leader Shine Barrow had a go at Prime Minister Briceño, harshly criticizing him for putting forward the controversial paper. This morning, when we caught up with Minister Mahler at an event here in Belize City, we sought a response from him in respect of Barrow's recent comments.
The opposition is going to say anything. Who signed the document? If you're going to be a country that respects the rule of law and respects agreement, then the blame has to be put on the UDP and Erwin Contreras. So I really don't understand the mindset of the leader of the opposition. He speaks because he has a hole in his face.
In terms of his point that it is the current Prime Minister who is pushing the document now, after having admitted that the document is invalid, what's your take on that?
Listen to me. Everything regarding Cruz is going to end up in the courts. And so we have to be very careful. Would we want this to be another BTL, whereby we didn't abide by certain agreements, we went through the court system and ended up paying $550 million when we damn well know that that institution was not worth that at the time. So there are a lot of issues at play here. We have to be extremely careful. We're getting legal advice about the definitive agreement, and I've said this in cabinet that I believe that the principals behind the development would be interested in renegotiating the definitive agreement. And from my perspective, and I can say this on behalf of the Prime Minister, we put that definitive agreement on hold. We put the legislation on hold. But everything in this business is a timing issue when you're dealing with international corporations.
According to Mahler, blame for the signing of the divisive agreement, which provides, among other benefits, a tax holiday for Port of Magical Belize, should be placed squarely at the feet of the former UDP government.
When it was presented to cabinet, it was based on a timing issue, no cynical thing. I saw the document the night before, and I raised some concerns in cabinet, and there are other members around the table that raised some concerns. The PM raised his concerns, and we decided collectively that we should put that on hold. So we haven't done anything wrong. We're just going through due process. The UDP who signed the definitive agreement and outlined all those concessions, UDP is to blame. Erwin Contreras is to blame. And I believe that Erwin Contreras signed all the other definitive agreement. I haven't seen him, but I believe he was the one who signed those as Minister of Economic Development. He was the second most powerful minister in cabinet, other than the Prime Minister.
What course of action do you think should happen?
Well, I'll leave that to the professionals. There was no revolt. There was a sober discussion. Line by line, in the areas and the sections that I saw that were scandalous, you could say I destroyed it. But that was done by the previous administration. So if you're a country of rule of law, you have to go through due process to see if these things are legally binding. When you get legal opinion on anything, it takes time. And so this process is just a week and a half from where we are now.
On Tuesday, Chief Executive Officer Ted Peralta, on behalf of the Port of Belize Limited, wrote to Ombudsman Gilbert Suazo requesting an investigation into the circumstances of the signing of the definitive agreement. The request is based on reasonable grounds which were presented by way of evidence that former Minister of Economic Development Erwin Contreras committed a corrupt act with the signing of that agreement. As many as 10 reasons were cited for an investigation to be launched by the Office of the Ombudsman. Interestingly, retired Major Gilbert Suazo is also the former Ports Commissioner. Earlier today, we sat with him for his take on an investigation of this nature.
If it is that there is any individual or persons, corporate or not, who deem or believe that they have suffered any injustice, abuse, or are subject to any corruption, may lodge a written complaint to the Office of the Ombudsman. Once that complaint is lodged at the Office of the Ombudsman is to determine the validity and the veracity of that case. The validity and the veracity of the case will determine whether an investigation of that matter will continue or will start and or will end, depending on the determination of the Ombudsman. If it is deemed that the complaint is valid, it is not frivolous, if the complaint is not in any way or form appear to be vexatious and not made in good faith, then it stops. However, if it is determined that it is not frivolous, it is not prejudicial, then the Ombudsman may commence an investigation.
What weight, if any, does the outcome of the Ombudsman's investigation have on such a matter going forward?
Well, there are a number of things. One, the recommendation that is made is just what it is. It's a recommendation.
Coming up, lowest overall national inflation rate since early 2021, recorded in April 2023. Find out the details of these stories when we come back.
John and Kate, I checked your results. You cannot have children. I'm sorry.
Department of Human Services, how may I help you?
Yes, my husband and I wanted to know more about the Heart of Gold adoption program.
Yes, of course. I'm glad you called. Well, let me tell you more about a Heart of Gold program.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Contact the Department of Human Services and find out how you can become a foster or adoptive parent and be that heart of gold.
His cabinet revolted against him because of his presentation of that same definitive agreement.
Obviously, it is going to be binding. The definitive agreement, that will not fly.
Why the change of face, Mr. Briceño? Is it because your cabinet has turned on you?
His cabinet revolted against him. This is the first time ever a prime minister has presented something to his cabinet. Not since, I guess, Said Musa has this happened. And this happened because the definitive agreement is one of the most horrendous pieces of agreement that I have seen, and wholesaling everything to a foreign entity.
Is it because the Belizean people can finally see just what was in the definitive agreement?
I am very disappointed that this paper was leaked out.
He has been caught.
Very disappointed that this paper was leaked out.
At the Life Company, we understand that life can be demanding and fast-paced, so we've made it easier for you to contact us. Wherever you may be, and at your own convenience, you can now access our services through our social media platforms. RFNG Life is pleased to introduce our new LifeBot service. Request a quotation, make premium payments, speak to a customer service representative, and more from right where you are in the palm of your hands. Visit our website or Facebook page or WhatsApp us at 671-5143 to try out our new LifeBot service today. RFNG Life Insurance, the Life Company.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
After 4 months of grueling BEBL basketball, only the cream of the crop, the final 4 teams are left standing. Betis, Belize Hurricanes, Orange Walk Running Rebels, Danbuga Dream Ballers, and San Pedro Tiger Sharks. And now comes the playoffs.
Y'all ready for this?
Let's go. Around. The playoffs are here! The playoffs are finally here! The Belize Civic Center will be the rendezvous for you this Friday, June 2, as your favorite city team and 2-time BEBL champion, Betis Belize Hurricanes. The only city team left to defend the commercial capital will start their championship journey against their arch rivals, the Danbuga Dream Ballers, in a battle dubbed as Dreaming Nightmares for Griga. Dream, dream, dream. Belize District, it gets no bigger than this, where your Hurricane boys, led by the energetic Chris Fraser, Gensi Cooper Lopez, Victor Vito Evans, Jamel Harris, and Kirk Shabba-Smith Jr. face off against the Danbuga Dream Ballers, led by their giant center, Dominic Woodson, Devon Campbell, and Edgar Boogie Mitchell. We all know Dream Ballers no like Canes, and Canes definitely no like Dream Ballers.
Them no like me, I mean I like them.
Who will draw first blood? Who will take game 1 of this best-of-3 series? Bring out the entire family this Friday night of June 2. The halftime show will feature the Betis $4,000 half-court shot, cell phones and tablet giveaways from Smart and Cellular World.
Hurricanes are one big family.
The after party will be at Thirsty Thursdays. Sponsors.
Yo, respect the city. Love the game. Family, Belize Hurricanes. Hurricanes are one big family.
And now, the hottest match of the evening. Get ready for action! Here they come. Amazing! They're unstoppable, unbeatable. They have them on the ropes. The heat rises to the top. 1, 2, and 3. They're on fire! Chiladas. Fire up the taste of Belize with the new Chiladas crunchy tortilla taco chips in its hot chili flavor. Fiery habanero brings the heat. They're on fire! Chiladas. From Snackers, done right, done here.
It's good to keep the environment clean. BSWAMA, step up the pace. They're going places to manage your waste. So make we stand and make well sure. No garbage left on the seashore. The whole of Belize we stay clean, cause we know say worth much more. We have pretty environment. So when you see the garbage on the ground, go after me and just bag it on.
Cleanliness has always been second nature to us, so let's work together to keep our surroundings beautiful and healthy.
No garbage in it.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Dengue and Zika alert. Do your part by preventing mosquito breeding. The Ministry of Health reminds the public that as we enter the rainy season, be aware of the dangers of dengue, chikungunya, and Zika. These are infectious diseases that are transmitted by the bite of Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus mosquitoes. These mosquitoes are most active in early morning and late afternoon. Activities that should be done to prevent dengue and Zika include: avoid having containers that can collect water in your yard. Cover water storage containers such as drums. Change the water in flower pots every 4 or 5 days. These are ideal breeding sites for the mosquito. With the elimination of breeding sites in and around the yard, dengue and Zika can be avoided. Dengue and Zika begin with sudden onset of high fever. Other signs and symptoms include rash, joint pain, eye pain. If you are pregnant or planning to become pregnant, we advise you to visit your nearest health facility. The public is also encouraged to use mosquito repellent spray or lotion on the body or clothing. Do your part by preventing mosquito breeding. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
Saudi Minister of Tourism Ahmed Al-Khatib arrived at the Philip Golson International Airport on Tuesday, where he was received on the tarmac by Minister of Tourism Anthony Mahler. The purpose of the visit included the signing of a loan agreement with the Saudi Fund for Development to build a tertiary hospital in Belmopan. Belize is the 88th country to benefit from the SFD funding since it was established in 1974. News 5's Isani Cayetano reports.
Saudi Arabia is starting to play not only in Africa and Asia and Europe, but now also wanting to play a more important role in all parts of the world. As you rightly said, you're a member of the G20, and as such, you have an important role here.
Prime Minister John Briceño signed a $90 million development loan with Saudi Arabia's Minister of Tourism on Tuesday. The signing of the agreement was part of a brief visit to Belize by Ahmed Al-Khatib, chairman of the board of directors of the Saudi Fund for Development. The monies, as we've reported, will be used for the construction of a new hospital in Belmopan.
Our objective is to attain universal health coverage. These are to ensure that these opportunities come to Belizean people, and building a new tertiary facility will only be able to provide that better service and access to healthcare for Belizean people. So definitely I want to thank you on behalf of us and the ministry and the wider Belizean people.
The new state-of-the-art medical facility will benefit more than 200,000 citizens with access to secondary and tertiary healthcare services. Despite concerns being raised by doctors and nurses, as well as hospital staff with the KHMH Workers Union, the facility will double as a university hospital for UB's Faculty of Medicine. Witnessing the signing of the agreement was Christopher Koyi, Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance.
For us, I think we have to creep before we can walk. And we are a young country as well. We're 40 years. We have been able to develop formal relations, diplomatic relations with yourselves, and we look forward to deepening that relationship. We're appreciative.
Prior to signing, a bilateral meeting was held during which Minister Al-Khatib informed Prime Minister Briceño that funding was also approved to the government of Belize for a solar energy plant to be constructed. This will help Belize in meeting its energy needs. The conversation segued into promoting Belize as an ecotourism destination. Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
Tourism numbers for Belize continue to climb, but the figures are still not quite back to where they were pre-COVID. But that time is just ahead, according to Minister of Tourism Anthony Mahler, who said the difference is just a fraction between what they were then and what they are now. He shared those figures with us today.
I just got the numbers yesterday and we're about 91 or 92% of where we were 2019. Revenues have gone up. An important KPI is that the length of stay has gone up significantly, so from 6.4 days to almost 9 days, which offsets the numbers that we haven't reached back as yet.
One of the tourism routes that Belize has not been able to land an agreement with as yet is Europe. Getting European airlines into Belize would cater to a whole new market that would take up the #1 foreign exchange earner for our country. That reality is expected to come in the not too distant future as well, as Minister Mahler gave us that update.
We have several options on the table right now. I met with both private sector, major private sector associations this week. I've met with them on Monday and Tuesday, and they are in full support of some of the strategies that we want to employ to ensure that we have our first European carrier to Belize.
Consumer prices are up by 4.6% in April, according to the Statistical Institute of Belize. SIB says this is the lowest overall national inflation rate recorded since early 2021. But food prices are still considerably higher than they were during the same month last year. In fact, according to SIB, the food and non-alcoholic beverages category accounted for the quarters of the national inflation rate for the month of April. The only other category that contributed significantly to the overall rise in consumer prices was restaurants and accommodation services. According to SIB, there is a continued upward trend in prices for restaurant and cafe services, coupled with higher hotel accommodation rates that contributed to an inflation rate of 10.4%. Transport is usually the second major contributor to rising consumer prices. But in April, transport had a negligible impact on inflation as average prices for fuel fell slightly below the levels recorded in April last year. The price of premium gasoline fell 19 cents. The price of regular gasoline fell by 84 cents, while the cost of diesel fell by $1.10. After the break, multi-million-dollar fair trade system in Belize. Fair trade or unfair trade? We'll tell you more on that, but first, here's the weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
His cabinet revolted against him because of his presentation of that same definitive agreement.
Obviously, it is going to be binding. The definitive agreement, that will not fly.
Why the change of face, Mr. Briceño? Is it because your cabinet has turned on you?
His cabinet revolted against him. This is the first time ever a prime minister has presented something to his cabinet. Not since, I guess, Said Musa has this happened. And this happened because the definitive agreement is one of the most horrendous pieces of agreement that I have seen, and wholesaling everything to a foreign entity.
Is it because the Belizean people can finally see just what was in the definitive agreement?
I am very disappointed that this paper was leaked out.
He has been caught.
Very disappointed that this paper was leaked out.
You know, Bolido been playing at this country for over 70 years now. That before my mind even born, you know. That just goes to show how cemented Bolido is in our culture and daily life. Thankfully, government recently get back for we Bolido, for we the people. So now, a publicly owned entity, Belize Government Lotteries Limited, will have management of the Bolido. And guess what? The profits will support NHI and the official charities fund, you know. That means even more Belizeans will have access to healthcare, you know, and other support they desperately need. And that all because of this change, you know. I don't know about you, but I love the song of this. For we fun, for we profits, for we Bolido.
Whether you're in a bustling urban area or a tranquil rural community, connectivity matters. Internet access is key to continued socioeconomic development. That is why Digi, our national telecom, has and will continue to invest millions of dollars to expand its mobile and fiber networks throughout Belize. Thousands of mobile users and households, especially along the highways and in rural communities, are now enjoying the benefits of Digi's resilient infrastructure. Our national telecom will continue to lead the charge towards digital transformation by utilizing cutting-edge technology and maintaining an unwavering dedication to excellence. With our DigiWallet solution, Belizeans in urban and rural areas now have easy and safe access to a wide array of financial services via their mobile devices. And with the recent launch of DigiTV, Digi has made history, becoming the only quad play service provider in Belize. Now, customers can save with our DigiOne bundles that offer home internet, mobile, home phone, and DigiTV services all in one place. Digi is committed to providing all communities with access to high-quality, reliable, and affordable services while unlocking untapped potential and opening the doors to a brighter future for all. Be a part of the transformation and experience connectivity like never before. Because with Digi, connectivity matters.
Every year, millions of dollars are pumped into the sugar industry in Belize through fair trade premiums. A premium is a calculated sum added to an ordinary price or charge. In the sugar industry, fair trade premiums act as an incentive to producers in developing countries that adhere to fair trade standards in the production of their sugarcane. But of the 4 associations in the north, the BSCFA has not received fair trade premiums for the past 2 years. This has forced the government of Belize to implement a number of interventions. But how fair has the decision been from all parties involved? News 5's Paul Lopez takes a closer look in tonight's 5-point breakdown.
Sugar is the lifeblood of northern Belize. The industry is built on the backs of hardworking cane farmers like Manolo Hernandez. His family's livelihood for several generations has been the production of sugarcane.
We grew up together with my dad. He's been a cane farmer from since I know myself. No? I went to Belize School of Agriculture in 1981. And I decided to just farm. My dad had all this land right there, so I just worked the land.
Fairtrade International works with farmers and laborers of more than 300 commodities, including sugar, to ensure that they are earning a living income. The Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association is Fairtrade certified. In meeting these requirements, Caneros earn the right to have their products sold at a premium price on the shelves. Javier Keme is the chairman of BSCFA's Fair Trade Compliance Committee.
The premium is paid by the end consumer of any product. In our case, it's for any packaged sugar that is on the shelves in any grocery store in the market.
Sugarcane farmers like Manolo Hernandez deliver produce to the Belize Sugar Industries Limited. BSI then mills the sugar using a certified process. The fair trade eligible product is then sold in the export market to several buyers, including Tate & Lyle Sugars, a UK-based company that sells fair trade eligible products at a premium. Olivia Aviles, the cane farmer relations manager at BSI, further explains.
So we have a contract with the associations on cane purchase. That is not to be confused with the what fair trade calls the premium contracts. From the understanding, Tate & Lyle has an agreement then with the producer or small producer organization directly. So that agreement then entitles that small producer organization to then collect premiums after it has been sold, after the sugar has been sold as fair trade sugar.
Tate & Lyle enters into an agreement with each Fair Trade Certified Association, informing them of the amount of sugar that they intend to sell under the Fair Trade logo. Tate & Lyle distributes roughly $5 million in Fair Trade premiums annually that is shared across all 4 associations. Fair Trade ensures that the funds are put to good use through social, environmental, and economic programs.
We have been benefiting them through various programs, right? Even down to the cane cutters. They receive some material, right, for safety materials, and also our cane farmers, right? Currently, we have been working, and presently also we have been giving farmers of the CSCPA services for plowing and husbandry for their cane fields, right? Which is something that, thanks to that fair trade premiums, we have been giving them.
We focus mostly on diversification projects, because we note that most farmers cannot live only on the sugarcane production. So currently Progressive is focusing itself in promoting sustainability, food sustainability, by doing projects under diversification.
For BSCFA, all of those premiums came to a screeching halt when its relationship with Tate & Lyle went sour at the start of the 2020-21 crop season. This decision has placed significant constraints on BSCFA's finances. Those restrictions are taking a toll on farmers.
This year has a big decrease in my yields. From 4,000 to 3,000, almost over 1,000 tons. Even a sack of fertilizer went up $100 a sack. You know, you put 100 sack of fertilizer, and it's 10,000. I put about almost 300 sack of fertilizer.
The government of Belize has stepped in to provide $1 million to the association for the purchase of fertilizers. Government's concern is for the sustainability of the industry. Jose Abelardo May, the Minister of Agriculture, is also a sugarcane farmer with BSCFA.
By not being able to apply fertilizer the way it should be, that has contributed significantly to the reduction in yields. The most affected in this are the BSCFA.
CAMEC questions Tate & Lyle's decision to choose which Fair Trade Certified Association in Belize it will enter into an agreement with, and which one it will refuse.
I want to make this categorically clear. The buyer can say, I want to buy X amount of sugar from one association, right? Why? Because the sugar that is produced, each association has a portion that, according to their production, on that volume. So that 40,000 tons is not only for BSCFA, it's for the 4 associations. So that is why we claim that it's unreasonable, it's unfair, that they use the excuse that because there is an absence of the letter of enhancement, that we don't get our premium.
Tate & Lyle Sugars did not want to go on record with a response because it is still engaged in discussions with BSCFA in an attempt to reach common grounds. The government of Belize has implemented the Sugar Industry License to Import-Export Sugar Regulations 2023. With this legislation as a precondition to receiving an export license, BSI will be obligated to disclose to the Sugar Industry Control Board how much sugar it has sold, to which buyers and at what cost, on a quarterly basis.
I believe that if you don't give me a letter, you then cannot sell my sugar as fair trade. It means then that you would have to separate sugar from the associations, market that separately from my sugar. Because if you do sell it, you have to disclose by law. So it puts them it forces them to be in a position where they have to disclose. All this regulation is asking for is for disclosure. This regulation now puts more, I should say, it forces them to implement fair trade as fair trade.
At the end of the day, what is required is a good relationship between the buyer and the small producer.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
When we return, Belize Defense Force destroys illegal airstrips in southern Belize.
Well, I can't believe the grill pan is holy grill. Well, don't worry about nothing. We got a new one at the Benny's Father's Day Fest.
Oh, that they happen again?
Yes, and this year,
Benny's is giving 19% off store-wide. Yes, 19% off everything.
Boy, we have for that, bro.
But wait, don't forget, the race is still on.
The Benny's 100 car race, where racers will once again compete to claim the top prize and become the champion.
Anyways, look on the time. Let's see how this is a grill. I need to go.
Alright, yeah, bro. New whip?
Push the start.
Alright, big time. Boy!
Boy, Kagali push the start, man.
The Benny's Father's Day Fest, Saturday, June 17th, Benny's Superstore. This one you don't want to miss.
Hola usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. Selecciona Language. Y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Today, in a remote area of Toledo District, a clandestine airstrip used in a recent drug plane landing was destroyed by the Belize Defense Force. At first light this morning, troops made their way to the area where explosives were planted along the cleared path that was approximately 2 kilometers long. News 5 spoke with the BDF commander of the Fairweather camp in the south that led the operation.
We are currently in the Toledo district, particularly behind Corazon village, which is just an hour and a half, 2 hours maximum from Punta Gorda. This is located due northwest of Punta Gorda town. The location we are currently at is walking in as the crow flies. It's approximately 2.5 hours to 3 hours from the village of Corazon. If you look at the terrain, it is rugged terrain, and we are currently surrounded by mountains. And so what we are doing here is we are here to launch an operations, which is basically the destruction of this illegal airstrip, which has been used in the past for narco trafficking. Also, we are here to help deter incoming traffic with regard to this type of illicit activities. Of course, the biggest concern is its direct influence on the nearby villages. And of course, you know our biggest concern when it comes to the security of the country and the people. That is one of our priorities. So if we can do the least here, like in terms of destruction of these airstrips, in deterring these activities, then that is what we're doing here.
This is not the only clandestine airstrip that was found in this area, right?
No, it's not. Like other parts of the country, Toledo has had its share. We have had previous operations where we destroyed airstrips similar to this one, generally right here in the general area of Corazon in the Toledo district.
And now talk to us just a little bit more about the destruction. So explosives were brought in and for the destruction to take place, right?
Yes, Derek, I'm sure. So our expert basically came in. They placed the charges strategically along the length of the airstrip. After a period of time, they were ignited. The staff and your crew members were taken to safety, and these were detonated. After a couple of minutes elapsed, we came out back. Well, the expert ensured that all were detonated, and it was declared safe. And then we came out to view what has basically taken place. And what we have here in the background is basically what is the result of these charges being placed in.
Have more on this story from Toledo District in Thursday's newscast. The 2023 Atlantic hurricane season officially begins on Thursday. To mark the start of the season, the City Emergency Management Organization, CEMO, hosted a symposium in Belize City. The event, titled Build Disaster Resiliency, saw the participation of various stakeholders from across government ministries and humanitarian organizations. They all gathered to discuss the strengths and weaknesses identified in preparing for and responding to the devastation caused by Hurricane Lisa in November of 2022. One of the areas raised for discussion was shelter management and the lessons learned from having to shelter over 1,600 residents.
On the day of landfall, November 2nd, 2022 of Hurricane Lisa, we had approximately 1,653 occupying the shelters in Belize City on the day of Hurricane Lisa. Basically what we do beginning of the year, we do our shelter inspection. So that is to make sure that everything is in place, this shelter is structurally sound. And then to make sure that we have enough for the capacity of each shelters, we do have backup shelters in place as well. So in the event we would have had both shelters in the Lake Eye Division filled, we would have used our backup shelters in that process.
It's always in the area of shelter, right? Shelter management, ensuring that we communicate with those shelter managers, and working along with the national organization, very important as well, because we at the city level is only responsible for the city. And so many times you would find where the information coming from the national organization may be coming a bit late. Case in point, last year when Hurricane Lisa was upon us, we felt that it would have been coming a bit later, and when we found out the hurricane was upon us like right after midday, and so we had to really change when we opened those shelters for the people.
Melanie Dawson, the CMO liaison officer at the Belize City Council, also gave an overview of the cleanup efforts that the council undertook across the city following the Eau Claire. She says that 63,630 tons of solid waste were removed from the streets of Belize City during the operation. The National Emergency Management Organization has confirmed with the council that this is a national record.
With that collaboration, I would say, because without having help from the different stakeholders, we couldn't manage, cleaning up the city on a very swift movement like we did. So basically collaboration, I would say, we need to tie in that, and strengthen that area. But we've had help, from everyone, the MIDH, the Belize Waste Control, the cane farmers, and everything played out very well for us.
Following Hurricane Lisa, the Belize City Council spent an estimated $500,000, according to Mayor Wagner. He explained that these funds were reimbursed by central government. Another weakness that Mayor Wagner identified is the bureaucracy that affected persons often faced in accessing relief supplies.
What we also found, one of the weaknesses was the fact of relief and supplies after the hurricane has passed. How do we get the relief and the supplies out to the people in an efficient way? People don't want no long process. We have to flow to a lot of farms to get relief and supplies. It's burdensome to the people. I don't believe in that type of going all through those red tape. We have to simplify the process for relief and supplies. It has to be that we go to the people. And that is how we at the city really did our relief and supplies, that we ensure that we went into the communities with the relief and supplies. Going out into the communities is far, far more effective than having to fill out a form and waste all the residents' time in getting those supplies to them.
Up next, Edward P. York High School gets a new basketball court.
His cabinet revolted against him because of his presentation of that same definitive agreement.
Obviously, it is going to be binding. The definitive agreement, that will not fly.
Why the change of face, Mr. Briceño? Is it because your cabinet has turned on you?
His cabinet revolted against him. This is the first time ever a prime minister has presented something to his cabinet. Not since, I guess, Said Musa has this happened. And this happened because the definitive agreement is one of the most horrendous pieces of agreement that I have seen, and wholesaling everything to a foreign entity.
Is it because the Belizean people can finally see just what was in the definitive agreement?
I am very disappointed that this paper was leaked out.
He has been caught.
Very disappointed that this paper was leaked out.
Social Security. Your direct online access to all your Social Security information. 360 view of all your Social Security information. Registration services, benefits, contributions, and employer services at your fingertips. Enjoy all the new features with your My Social Security account. Register with SSB. Submission of benefit claims. Submission of contribution statements. View contribution record. Enjoy all your My Social Security feature at ssbportal.org.bz. Social Security at your fingertips.
Sign up for Smart Share Plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly, only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
For decades, Edward P. York High School has been promoting sports among its students. But the challenge has always been that their basketball court was the ground. Through assistance from 2 well-known alumni, the school now boasts a spanking new basketball court. Minister of Tourism Anthony Mahler and the General Manager of RF&G Company Limited, Andrew Rowe, donated towards the cause. News 5's Marian Ali was on hand for the official ceremony today and filed the following report.
The school has been around since the 80s, when the Belize Junior Secondary Schools became full-fledged high schools. One changed its name to Edward P. York High School, and it began to offer high school lessons up to 4th form. But the challenge has been to get a basketball court that would enable its students to play the sport. Today, that dream became a reality when the school opened its new court. At the heart of the project were 2 former students, including Tourism Minister Anthony Mahler. He explained that he had to get involved because of the school's impact on his life.
When I was going down the wrong path as a young man, this school helped to change my life. So this is my alma mater. And I said to the principal and the management team here that I want to help in any way possible to ensure that the students going here can have an environment where they feel safe, they can express themselves, and where they can build their talent.
RF&G Insurance Company Limited also contributed funds towards the cost of the court.
I played sports regularly, and I agree it's part of a well-rounded education. But sitting here, particularly in the rainy season, in your first semester, and seeing weeks go by where the kids couldn't use this court because it was flooded was really something that hurt me. So when the opportunity came to be able to participate in providing some assistance to put this court together, it was something that we were happy to participate in.
Mahler says for the youths out there who are heading down the troublesome path but want to make the change, it is possible as well for them.
Anybody can change, and so it is a mindset. You have to want to do it, and there are many opportunities around the country now with education, with sports, with all sorts of activities whereby you can hone your energies in a positive way.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Marian Ali.
The latest winner of Scratch and Win is a Belize City resident who is $21,000 richer after purchasing a lucky ticket on Monday night. On Tuesday, he stopped by our office with a check for $21,000 and explained how he came by his latest fortune.
I played Scratch from the first time it came out, I win $750. The first time it came out, I win $750. But I make my mother collect that.
What about this ticket? How did you come by this ticket?
Well, last night I win at $3 and $5. So me and my girlfriend quarreled last night. I gone, I come back for the ticket, and I went. The China tell I give me $2 $3 ticket and $2 change. I scratch the first one with a 40, nothing depend on the one that 39, that's the one we count.
What would you tell anybody out there who wants to play scratch and win?
Just continue scratch till your luck come in.
That's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5belize.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.